Here we have sinew, or sinew, as some people call it. This is from the back of a bison. It's quite large. So, sinew was the most common form of a thread back in those days, besides plant cordage. But every animal on the plains or prairie, the larger ones especially, were coveted for their sinew. Sinew is a tendon on the back of an animal, towards the back of the spine or the mid-center of the spine. But this is what helps keep the animal moving, keeps their muscles good. Part of the tendon also helps keep their neck upright. So any type of large animal has sinew on it, even small ones too. But this is normally found on the back strap of the animal, on top of the muscle. But it is used as a thread. When you get a thin strand of sinew like that, it is typically run through the mouth. When run through the mouth, it is then twisted, rolled, and in tandem with sewing awls, different types. You can punch holes through the leather, then you could run this strand of sinew through and stitch things together. Sinew was carried by every family back in those days. It was the most important type of repair item back then. It was also used as a survival food. During times of hardship, during winter, during war, when they wouldn't have many supplies, they would take strips of sinew, anything from their sewing bag, natural leathers, rawhides. They would take the sinew, put it into a ball, and they would chew on that. That would help stave off hunger. And as soon as the novelty of that wore off, then you could swallow the sinew itself and digest it. But it's typically wide, thin, flat. This is almost unbreakable when you twist it into a cord. It was used as a bowstring for many warrior societies, for many hunter-gatherers. It was used to bind arrowheads to arrow shafts when tied and twisted. When you twist sinew, it makes it a lot more durable. It's just like braiding any other type of rope or cord. Could be used to tie spears, could be used for moccasins, blankets, anything that needs stitching or wrapping. So when used in tandem with different types of natural adhesives, the sinew could become very strong. It was like our natural fiberglass back in those days. Using it with hide-based glues, plant-based glues, it would create a bond that was strong, sometimes waterproof and shock-resistant. Very useful for hunting with bow and arrow, spears. And the same thing happens to us today when we're in public. We have a clothing malfunction, something rips, something breaks. Well, grandmother and mother and sister were always there ready with this, and typically your sewing awl of some type. They could make a repair pretty quick, mend clothing. They could also sew the lodge. The most important part of the family was the lodge, and this was the thing that helped put it together. Stitching animal skins, collecting, saving, and getting the camp together, the family. Everyone had their own strips of sinew that they had saved and collected from various hunts or various animals they found on the prairie that were, well, already deceased. Nothing was ever wasted back in those days. They would try and save everything. Sinew is a part of that survivor mentality that's still here today. A lot of people use this even though there are modern day threads. They want to keep it old school. And that type of work is very appreciated. It turns out to make beautiful beadwork, beautiful stitching. And that is sinew. Useful thing. Could be used as a food, could be used as a cord. Yeah, sinew.